Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for being there. I am very happy to be with you today to be presenting. I am presenting this topic at the TESOL Spain convention, but I would like to share some ideas with you as well. So thanks for being there. Let me share my screen first. Hey, here we are. So this time I'm going to be talking about classroom management, and I'm going to be offering some tips on EFL classroom management. For the ones who do not know me, I am Gaby Torregiani. Welcome. I am an ESL specialist and consultant. I am founder and director of TCLS, Torregiani Corporate Language Services. I am head tutor for Bridges TEFL courses, teaching English to young learners and teaching English to teens and adults, and for some other courses as well, but that's another story. Let me tell you about my story, my personal story. Let me talk about myself. As I said before, I am an ESL specialist. I am a public translator and a teacherpreneur based in Argentina. I have been teaching for 25 years now, and I have worked with all different levels and ages. I started off as a teacher a long time ago. Then I became a coordinator, then a head teacher or trainer, and now I am a consultant and a director with my own business, TCLS. I started my business back in 2005, but I never stopped. I am always doing something. Last year, I became a coach, a neurolanguage coach, and examiner, and I also started studying for my master's degree in applied linguistics. I love training kids and teachers, so I started working on a YouTube channel as well to offer different tips per book. But then I'm going to share my social media. So today we're going to be talking about classroom management, about traditional techniques. We're going to discuss the concept of discipline. I'm going to share some ideas to keep your students engaged. When they are engaged, they behave. I'm going to give you some guidelines for instructions. We're going to be talking about motivation. We're going to see how to adopt certain strategies to work with teens. And then I'm going to share my social media and some information about myself so that we can stay connected. And of course, if you have questions, you can reach out to me. So first things first. What is classroom management? And you can start brainstorming on a page. You can start writing in the chat. You can start thinking about the concept. There is no wrong answer. So what is classroom management? Look at that picture. It gives you like an idea of what classroom management means. Okay, so classroom management may refer to all the techniques teachers use to keep the classroom on task and under control. When these techniques or strategies are well implemented, learners do not misbehave and do not normally misbehave, and learning is achieved. So let's talk about traditional teaching and techniques. In traditional teaching with teachers, we try to have the students follow directions, just follow directions, listen carefully, put up your hands, remain seated, among other strategies. Nowadays, education is evolving. We are changing, things are changing, and we are adapting to different types of teaching. So the above techniques have to be updated or adapted as well. We might need to adapt some strategies to the virtual classroom, for example, and to some other ages and levels as well. We can always use and adapt traditional techniques, but we need to stay open to change, okay? We need to investigate, innovate, to plan, and to predict for different modalities, for example, for the virtual classroom, okay? It could be, one thing could be to be teaching in person, and another thing could be to teach in the virtual classroom. And we need to analyze what is best for each group, okay, and for each level and age. Classroom management will always be a challenging job, regardless of the changes, okay? And I think of the level as well. With adults, It could be another story, because with adults, you can just talk to them if you see that something is not really working, okay? Anyway, okay, so discipline is key to successful classroom management and thus to a successful lesson. Teaching is a rewarding experience. I love teaching, but it can get quite challenging at times. So if you're not organized, it can really get quite challenging. So how to keep your classroom under control? Well, by implementing a few practical classroom management techniques, however, you can keep your classroom on topic and under control. Not always, though. Here are some ideas to help your young learners stay engaged and focused on the real purpose of the class, which is learning English. And some strategies can be adapted. You can also use some of these techniques with your teams. Okay, not all of them, though. Well, you can try. So here I'm sharing some strategies, and as I said before, some of them can be adapted. What I normally do at the beginning of the year, I create a classroom code with my students. Get them involved. Do not create a classroom code without your students. Not create a classroom code by yourself. Get them involved, okay? Create an English environment and speak only English. Respond only to English. You will avoid the use of their native language this way, okay? Because they normally want to use their native language, okay, regardless of the level. And this works with all levels and in the virtual classroom as well. So deal with non-verbal intervention. You will silently manage the situation with certain gestures, eye contact, and you will not interrupt the class or with the student on the spot. This one could be hard to adapt it to the classroom, to the virtual classroom though. For example, if someone is misbehaving or bothering, when you're teaching in person, what you can do is you can approach that student. You can walk to their desk and you can either touch their desk or stay there, right? You can be there. You can maybe sit next to the student, or you can just stay there, stood up, and they will realize that you want to say something. So create quick transitions. Well, as I said before, this one could be hard to adapt to the virtual classroom because, I mean, you can try eye contact or a gesture, but you might need to call them by their names instead. Create quick transitions. You will create a simple transition routine that students can learn and execute quickly without too many directions. Sometimes when you give them too many directions, they get lost or they pretend to be lost, right? So these quick transitions could work. Storytelling, break time, silence. And so they will stop doing whatever they're doing and they will jump to what they need to do. Be prepared to change routines every now and then because they get bored. And a pro tip here, stay flexible, be strict, but nice. So giving instructions. When you give instructions, you need to be, really careful. Give instructions before handing out materials or before sharing screen. This one could be adopted. Do not anticipate instructions. This one could be used in the virtual classroom as well. Do not tell them, first we're going to do this, then that, then after that we're going to do this, because they can get lost. You could try to anticipate something, but then you might need to repeat. So be prepared for that. Give clear and simple instructions. Use simple language. And here a pro tip, plan your instructions. Any instruction. I plan everything. Of course, that you might need to decide things on the go, but try to plan everything. Well, here is a picture of, I wrote an article on classroom management some years ago for a magazine called New Roots, a Brazilian magazine. Well, and here is a picture. This is the reason why I'm sharing it. I can then share my link, the link to the article, I mean. So here's some guidelines for those instructions. Do not begin your instructions with if. If you'll open your books to page 10, no, open your books at page 10. Again, keep it simple. Do not use modals. For example, say, open your books and do not say, would you open your books at? No. Do not use phrasal verbs. Read over the vocabulary. Just say, read. Keep it simple, quick transition. Do not use slang. For example, asking your students if they get it instead of asking, do you understand, could be quite challenging. Do not use complex relative clauses. For example, those of you who have finished early can work with no. Tell them, ask them, what have you finished? Okay, so now you can work with your partners, or you can tell them before, a little bit before. When you finish, you work with your partners. And give examples or prepare examples when explaining instructions. Because if they don't understand, then they will start asking different questions, but all together at the same time. Motivation, and this is my favorite. When students are motivated and engaged, they do not normally misbehave. Well, this is at least what I think. So assign student helpers or pick the students of the month. Motivation is key. And this one you can adapt it to the virtual classroom. I mean, we can do that. We can at least mention the student, okay? It could be hard to have them hand out the material or to, because when you're teaching in person, we use the helper or the student of the month for different things. But well, we might not find a specific thing for them to do during the virtual class. I mean, we can always think of something, but that one could be hard, but at least you can mention their name, okay? This week, Pablo is going to be the student of the week, or the form captain, or my secretary. So keep your students engaged. Rewards and praise normally work. Hold parties every now and then, and this one you can also do it in the virtual classroom. You can on a Friday, let's say, every month you can celebrate the birthdays of the month. Birthdays in August, in September, and you can tell the parents, or you can tell the student, okay, do have like a mini cake or something so that you can blow the candle, and you can sing the birthday, the happy birthday for that student, for all of your students. So how I work with teens and how I adapt my strategies. Well, with teens, it's a little bit different. Same thing with adults. With adults, you can talk to them. With teens, you can also talk to them. But teens love to be heard. So take the time to listen to them. You can talk to the class in general, to whole class, but hold one-to-one meetings as well. Talk about goals, interests, and needs. If the class is based on their goals and their needs, then they're going to be more engaged, more motivated, and thus they're not going to misbehave. Be ready to negotiate within options. Teens love negotiation. And I think you can also adapt this when to the virtual classroom. I cannot think of an issue, but let's say they do not want to turn on their camera, right? Well, of course you can talk to them seriously. I mean, you can talk to them, to the whole group, and then you can hold one-to-one meetings if this is really important to you. But then you can also give them options. You can tell them, okay, when you're doing this or that, you don't need to turn on your camera. But when we are debating, when we are role playing, when you're talking to me, when we are pretending to be sitting for an exam, you need to turn on your camera. I need you to turn on your camera because I want to see you. Okay, because we need to practice, or because I miss you. We want to see you. Okay, so you can plan different techniques. As for homework, never assign homework at the end of a class. You know, before the bell rings, students want to go home. Or before the Zoom ends, sometimes they want to go home. So they can get really noisy, distracted, and lose focus toward the end of the class as they are putting everything away and thinking about leaving and thinking about lunch or tea or what they're going to have for tea or whatever. So try to give homework before. And you can adapt this one to the virtual classroom. You should adapt this one to the virtual classroom. You know, sometimes it happens that the video call ends. And so sometimes it happens that we teachers do not really plan timing, or it just happens. And so the call ends and you didn't have the time to tell your students what they were supposed to do. So try to say something before. To overcome this classroom management issue, take the time to give homework at the beginning of the class when your students have just arrived and are paying more attention. Okay, be sure to use simple language, be clear, and ask follow-up questions about the assignment to confirm students' understanding. When students do not understand the homework, when students do not understand what you told them, what you tell them, and they're leaving, they're about to leave, it could be a problem because again, they will start talking all together. They won't take turns and it could be quite messy. So to put it in a nutshell, okay, sorry about that. Plan, organize, get some rest. Teacher well-being is key. You need to be okay to give your best. And if you give your best, students will appreciate that. Okay, they will see, they will notice that. Try things out and reflect on your choices. You can try things out, and if you see that they don't work, you can change things. Always show clear objectives. Take the time to learn about your students' interests and needs. Engage them. Motivation is key. Have a sense of humor and have fun. Do remember though, a fun class is not a funny class. Okay, so show that you care, and this one is very, very important. And here I am sharing my social media. This is some of my work. I am also sharing my article there, the one I referred to before. I wrote an article on classroom management tips some time ago, so I'm sharing the link. And this is my social media: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I use Instagram and LinkedIn a little bit more. I'm not a very tech person, but I have every single account so that we can stay connected. And if you have further questions, you can always contact me. So do not hesitate to reach out to me. Okay, so let me stop sharing now. Okay, so again, thanks for being there. I am very happy to have the opportunity to share some tips and some ideas. Hope you can benefit from them. Okay, so thank you very much, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.